Do our sacred texts hint at life beyond Earth? Did the rabbis believe in aliens? And could the Torah hold clues to this age-old mystery? Let's dive into the fascinating Jewish perspective on aliens. This is Faith Meets Fact.
There absolutely could be life on other planets. We just don't know yet. We have planets in our solar system and moons in our solar system that sure look like they could harbor life. Not necessarily intelligent life, not even necessarily multicellular advanced life, but life. At this point, we're thinking we might find bacteria or archaea, single-celled organisms buried under ice, maybe on Ganymede or maybe on Europa, maybe even on Mars. As far as complex multicellular life, the kind of thing that could communicate with us or fight wars against us in a terrible scenario, that almost certainly is not in our solar system. But that doesn't mean that it's not out there somewhere. Where we might find intelligent life, if it is out there anywhere, is somewhere in the Milky Way galaxy, where there are something like 300 million planets that are the right distance from the sun to harbor life that would look like life on Earth. We just don't know. There's something known as the Drake equation that has a million assumptions and that scientists don't take particularly seriously, but that estimates that there could be something like 35 planets that are likely to have life that could communicate with us. The question is why they haven't communicated with us yet. At the same time, there are some scientists who think that there's no intelligent life out there at all, no aliens capable of making war with us or communicating with us. That's also a possibility. At this point, science doesn't really know whether there's intelligent life on other planets, just that it is a possibility. Scientists have been thinking about aliens for quite a while, but the Torah has been thinking about aliens for even longer. Jewish thinkers have talked about aliens in ways that might surprise you. But for that, we're going to have to take a journey back in time and look at the Book of Prophets. Some historical context. Prior to the first king of Israel, King Saul, there was a series of Jewish judges. Each of these judges were the leaders of their generation, the spiritual giants of their time, people who guided the Jewish people through whatever was going on. Generally speaking, a back and forth of the Jewish people doing pretty well, starting to worship idols, and then doing pretty poorly, repenting under the guidance of those judges, then doing idols again, and then doing poorly again, and then repenting again. That back and forth is guided by a series of judges. Chief among these leaders was Deborah, a prophetess who guided the Jewish people through one of the most trying periods in Jewish history. At the time, Sisera, a Canaanite general, had been oppressing the Jewish people for 20 years. Deborah called on Barak to assemble an army to take the fight to Sisera and end these years of oppression. Barak refused to go into battle without Deborah by his side, and the two of them together delivered one of the greatest military victories in the history of the Jewish people. This is a very short version of the story. I left out a lot of details. I strongly suggest that you check out the original. For our purposes, what we really need to talk about is what happens at the end of this epic battle between Deborah and Barak and Sisera. At the end of the battle, Deborah sings a song that praises God for giving them a victory, that praises the Jewish people for fighting a war very bravely, and most importantly for our purposes, says very negative things about a bunch of other people. It is the original diss track. In this portion of the song, Deborah complains about the tribes that didn't show up to fight the war, and also complains about one individual group known as Meroz. Among these verses, Deborah sings, "The stars fought from heaven. From their courses, they fought against Sisera. Curse Meroz, said the angel of God, bitterly curse its inhabitants, because they came not to God's aid among the warriors." Deborah seems very upset at this Meroz. The question is, who is Meroz? The Talmud has a debate over the identity of Meroz. According to one opinion in the Talmud, Meroz was a strong man who led a small army and should have come to her aid and did not. But according to the second opinion in the Talmud, Meroz is a planet. A planet. When we go back to that verse, we see that Deborah curses Meroz and all of its inhabitants. If Deborah is cursing Meroz and all of its inhabitants, and if Meroz is a planet, then Deborah is cursing aliens for not coming to her aid in an intergalactic battle against Sisera. This would certainly cast the previous verses that Deborah sings in a completely different light. Rather than fighting from the stars being some sort of poetic device, now it's very practical. Deborah is saying, perhaps, that other aliens showed up and fought from the stars, just not Meroz, and Meroz is in big trouble for not showing up. This would be aliens, specifically in the Torah. The truth is, the Torah is not saying, nor is the Talmud, that there necessarily are aliens. What's most interesting for us is the fact that the Talmud cites the opinion that these could have been aliens uncritically. The Talmud says, could be that Meroz was a strong man, could be Meroz was an alien civilization. Both are acceptable opinions, and with that we move on. This shows the Talmud's willingness to entertain the possibility of intelligent life on other planets, and that is very significant for our discussion. When it comes to aliens from a Jewish perspective, the Torah does give us some ground rules, or I guess cosmic rules. Rule number 1 is that the Torah was only given in one time, in one place in history, and never again. God spoke to the Jewish people at Sinai one time on planet Earth. That means that there is no possibility whatsoever that the aliens that might be out there would have a Torah. They would have no divine mandate. They wouldn't have the divine mandate of the 7 Noahide laws that every single non-Jew has, nor would they have the divine mandate of the 613 commandments that every single Jew has. The fact that God chose to give the Torah only on Earth, only on this pale blue dot in the center of everything, emphasizes that it is in fact the center of everything. The focused point of the universe from God's perspective is right here, this world, this planet. If there is intelligent life on other planets, that is something that is theologically, for the Jewish people, relatively insignificant. The second of the ground rules is that since the aliens that might exist would not have Torah, nor would they have the 7 Noahide laws, there is no possibility that they could be anything more than very intelligent animals. What truly separates animals from humans, according to Torah, is the ability to exercise free will, and free will is conferred exclusively upon humans. Without any divine mandate, free will does not exist, and no matter how intelligent something might be, it is at the end of the day nothing more than an animal. There is no guarantee that humans are the smartest things that God ever made. There is a guarantee that humans are the only things God ever made that have free will and the ability to exercise morality, to tell right from wrong, and act based on it. Aliens would not have that capability. It's clear that the Torah is completely comfortable with the idea of life on other planets, and now it falls to scientists to discover whether or not it really is out there. Regarding this particular pursuit, the Lubavitcher Rebbe was often very encouraging. In the early 1960s, a biologist working for NASA asked the Lubavitcher Rebbe about looking for life on Mars. The Rebbe said the following: "You should look for life on Mars. You should keep looking, and if you don't find it, keep looking elsewhere and keep looking. Because to sit here in this world and say that there's no life elsewhere is to put a limit around what God can do, and that nobody can do." Back to you, Avrami.
Thank you, Rabbi Krish. As always, when we are presented with any discrepancy like this, it is important to remember that the Torah speaks of definitive truths, while science is humankind's best effort of figuring things out with the evidence we have available. Join us next time, where we will discuss dinosaurs. What does the Torah say about their existence? And how long ago did they roam the face of this planet? You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching Faith Meets Fact.